back to my channel. So today we're doing a follow-up on my full face one brand series using Pixi by Petra Cosmetics. I do have a video using Pixi, full face Pixi on my channel, and it is my most popular video on my channel. I uploaded it 10 months ago and it has 5.6 thousand views. I have been getting some requests to do an updated version of it. So if you're interested in seeing a full face, entire full face except brows, and my thoughts on all of the products, my recommendations, and then my misses with the brand, then just keep on watching. So I do have two setting sprays from Pixi. My absolute favorite setting spray mist product from them, something milky mist. I can link it down below as well. That is my absolute favorite from Pixi, but I don't have any of it right now. What I do have is the Rose Glow Mist. This is an antioxidant botanical boost, whatever that means. And then we have the Pixi Makeup Fixing Mist here. I'm gonna go ahead and prep my skin first with the Rose Glow Mist. I'm just going to let that sink in a little bit before I go in with my primer, but I wanted to mention this in the intro and I didn't, and I don't want to have to refilm the intro now. So I just wanted to quickly mention that about 90% of this was sent to me by Pixi. I get regular PR from Pixi. None of this is sponsored. I'm not being paid to say this. That doesn't influence at all my thoughts on any of the products or the brand as a whole. It's just a nicer way for me to do a full face video when I am supplied product from the brand. But none of it is sponsored. None of my opinions are going to be biased or influenced in any way, but I do already know that I enjoy a lot of Pixi makeup, so today is just testing a few new things and then doing an update on my old video, just like really demoing the product. Now that my face is all set in, that actually feels really nice. It has a little bit of a tacky finish to it. I really like that. The primer that I have from Pixi, and I believe this is their only primer. I'd love for them to come out with a hydrating primer because they do skincare so well. I think a hydrating primer would be a great move for Pixi, but the primer that I do have from them is the Pixi by Petra Flawless Beauty Primer. This is a hydrating radiance primer. I absolutely love this primer. It is such a nice, like, smoothing, airbrushed finish. It is very pigmented. It doesn't blend out as sheer as a lot of the other radiant products that I use. You can see it does have a little bit of a tint to it there, and because I'm so fair, it almost looks like it does have coverage to it in a sense. It creates a very nice finish and like airbrushed look onto the skin. It's just a really nice prepping step. I love adequately prepping my skin before makeup, so I love trying primers, and out of the radiance primers that I've tried, this one is unlike any other. You can see there's a difference in my skin tone even. It completely like brightens, changes the look of the skin, and it looks really nice when it kind of shines through the makeup. Wouldn't recommend wearing this without a foundation. I think it would look pretty crazy, but under foundation it does give a really nice healthy luminosity. Then for foundation complexion, I have two products here. The product that I used in my previous video, which was purchased by myself, was the H2O Tinted Face Gel Skin Tint. This one is a nicer low coverage option, and this is in number 1. This one comes in a lesser shade range than this one, so I am going to be opting for the more high coverage one today. This one was sent to me from Pixi. This is their high coverage foundation beauty balm, and this is also in number 1, but I believe this one has a bigger shade range than the H2O Skin Tint. Then I'm going to be blending it, pressing it in with my e.l.f. complexion sponge. This has been my favorite at the moment. I wouldn't say that this is high coverage. It is advertised as high coverage, and it is definitely a higher coverage than their H2O Skin Tint, but I would not call this high coverage. You can definitely still see my spots through. There isn't a like high coverage liquid concealer that I have, so I'm going to go in with the Correction Brightening Peach product, and we are just going to use this on any of my spots and then my under eye as well. I would definitely prefer a real liquid concealer that is my skin color rather than like a brightening peach type situation, but this is what we have. So I'm going to go and apply this with the Ulta Beauty Buffing Concealer Brush. Typically you would use this type of product before concealer as a brightening base, and then you would use your skin tone concealer over top of that. And again, just going ahead and blending this in with my beauty sponge from e.l.f. It definitely helped to reduce the redness, and it definitely made a bit of a difference, especially in the under eye area, and my little spots on my forehead I feel like look much better and just overall a little more smooth. Now we have the powder that we are going to go into. I have the color correcting powder foundation, and this is in number 1 cream. Before we go in with that all over face setting powder, I am going to dip into a little bit of my Coty Airspun here, just because my under eyes will crease and look really gross if I don't set them. So I'm going to go in with a tiny bit of this just right under my eyes and let that sit. So this is cheating a little bit, but I do want to give my makeup the best chance, and this is what I'm used to, and Pixi doesn't have a setting powder product like this, so I can't go in with an alternative for this one. Now we are going to go into the powder. As I said, this is a foundation powder, so it does have some coverage to it, which is nice, and I'm going to really pack this into the skin to hopefully get more coverage and also just to like smooth everything over and give it a little more of an airbrushed look. And now here's how the skin looks with that powder. I really like this powder. I've been using it for a while. I purchased it, I believe, in order to film my last video, so I've had it for about 10 months. I haven't hit pan, and I do reach for a decent amount. I would say it's just as comparable as like the Maybelline Fit Me powder, the press one, if you're used to that. Now I like to go in with bronzer. So Pixi doesn't have, I don't think they have specific like blush and bronzer compacts. So what I do have and what I used in my last video and really enjoyed are the Pixi Glow Cake powders. So they're like little trios with bronzer, blush, and highlight. For the bronzer, I am going to go in with the one from the Gilded Bare Glow, and I'm just going to go in with the same face brush that I used. This is my favorite technique, to use the same powder brush for my powder, facial powder, and then for my bronzer, it just makes everything very smooth and seamless. So I'm just going to go into the end here, dip into that bronzer shade, and add some warmth to the skin. This isn't going to like contour me by any means. It's just going to add a nice bronze to the skin. I really like these powders as well. They're really nice and smooth, and you can see there that they're quite pigmented, but they blend really nicely. Here is how the bronzer looks from the Gilded Bare Glow palette. It is definitely a very warm orangey bronzer, so I just used it, not super precise, very much all over my face in that like 3 shape, and then a little bit on my nose, just to give like an overall sun-kissed look. Now after bronzer, I really like to go in with highlight and then blush. So highlight is definitely one of my number 1 recommendations from Pixi. This was purchased myself. I purchased Pixi at Shoppers Drug Mart here in Canada, and this is the Glowy Gossamer Duo, and this is the Delicate Dew Duo. Looking at this, you would definitely assume that this is too dark for my face, and this side here is too dark to use as a nose and like Cupid's bow highlight, but mixing them together is totally okay for my cheekbones. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to mix these together. We have like a bronzy, golden, as you can tell, and then more pinky. This is one of the most blinding highlights that I know of at the drugstore. I think they're so pretty, so blinding, as you can tell. Now going into the pinkier one, we are going to highlight my nose and my Cupid's bow. And I really like to blend and diffuse the highlight kind of into the bronzer, just bring everything together, really highlight my whole cheek. I think it is so pretty and glowy and natural, and it looks very pretty with the more warm toned bronzer. I think that combo is just insanely pretty. Now I'm going to go back into these Glow Cake palettes, and I'm going to take the Pink Champagne Glow, and I'm going to go into the blush in the middle here. I love a good pinky, cool toned pink blush, and I'm going to concentrate that onto my cheekbones, help to blend together my bronzer and my highlight, and add some more color to the face. Now we are going to dip into this palette. This is the Pixi Dream Shadow Palette Eye Enchanter. I'm not even sure how many shades are in here. I don't think it says. I want to say there's 28 shades in here. It is a very large palette, and it's a lot of shimmers. There's a couple here that are actual like glitters. It looks like this one here and this one here look more like glitters, and then I would say 85% of the palette is shimmers, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 mattes. So to have a 28 shadow palette, I believe it's 28, and then only have 4 mattes is pretty crazy. So I'm going to start off with this matte. It is just like a base cream matte shade. This shade is a lot more yellow than I thought it was going to be, so using that very sparingly. Now I'm going to go into this cool toned grayish brown matte shade in the crease. This shadow is a little bit more smooth and less pigmented than I thought it might be, especially because it is a matte. Mattes just tend to be a little bit more high in pigment, but this shade is very smooth and blendable and a little bit more subtle, which I'm okay with because I want to keep things a little bit more neutral, and then I can just build it up however I want. I don't have to worry about applying too much pigment. Now, because I'm just so curious, I really want to go into this like sparklier silver shade. So I'm going to just take that on my lid, pack it in, and then maybe deepen it up with something else in a little bit. I'm just going to wet my brush with the mist that I used earlier just to get a little more even, smooth application and get a little more pigment on there. And it's definitely packing on nicely. It's very buildable and like easy to work with, but it is a little bit dry. And now I'm going to go into this deeper charcoal shade, and I'm just going to put that on the outer V a little bit to deepen it up. As I'm trying to build up the pigment, it's just patching away a little bit. Hard to pack it and then get it blended without it blending away. I'm taking a bare, clean, fluffy crease brush and super lightly trying to diffuse that without completely wiping it away. Put a little bit of that silver lid shade in my inner corners to make them pop a little bit, and then we will smoke out the lower lash line afterwards. I'm going to use the cooler tone crease shade that I used rather than the shade in the edge to deepen, because I don't want the under eye area to be too dark and smoky. I just want a little bit of definition. So I'm just going to go in there and smoke it out a little bit. This is the Pixi Lash Booster Mascara, and this is in number 2, Blackest Black. This here is what the wand looks like. Pretty average, isn't curled, isn't too fat, isn't too thin. I would say that the mascara is on the drier side. I'm definitely having to really go in and pay attention to each lash. I feel like because I don't love this for length and volume, it might just be a good lower lash line mascara because it is a little bit of a smaller, more precise wand, and that's what I like on my lower lashes. Ooh, yeah, I really like it on my lower lashes. I feel like it's not coating it too much. I feel like sometimes my mascaras just glob up my lower lash line and it doesn't look good, but this is applying a perfect amount for the lower lash line, and it's a really, really nice size for the area as well. Now it is time to go in with lip color. So I have a few of the, they're called the Matte Last liquid lipsticks. I'm going to go in with the Really Rose lip shade. This one's really pretty. And I always overline a little bit, so that is what I'm going to do today. Dry down completely matte. I really like this formula. I think I'm gonna try going in with this gloss. This is the Pixi gloss. I don't know what the actual name of them is. I don't see a full like product name on here, but this one is the shade Glacé. So we're gonna try and go in with this. These look so pretty and sparkly and like gorgeous. So I'm going to try applying this on the lips. I actually do really like that. Once it's on the lips and it's like settled in, you can't really see the intense glitter. Going back in with highlight at the end to just top everything off. So I'm going back into the Glowy Gossamer Duo just with the pink side. Top off my highlight. Ooh, that looks good. I love this highlight duo. With that extra bit of highlight, that completes my full face Pixi part 2 minus the brows. If I was really going to narrow it down, I would say pick up one of these like glow cake duos because you get a blush and a bronzer and a little bit of a highlight in there, but I'm not crazy about these highlights, mainly just a blush and a bronzer. Love these. Definitely the highlight duo. You can tell I'm obsessed with it. And then the setting sprays, particularly the Makeup Milky Mist. And then I'm really into the lips as well. I like the liquid lipstick. I like the glosses. So those are all fully approved. I really do like the eyeshadow look that I came up with, but overall, I feel like the shadows could be a lot better. And then I'm not obsessed with the mascara. It looks really nice on my lower lashes, but I feel like I'm not wearing anything on my top lashes. I keep looking in the viewfinder and it's just not where I want my mascara to be, so I wouldn't recommend the mascara. I wouldn't recommend the shadows really. The complexion products aren't my absolute favorite. I wish the high coverage foundation had more coverage to it. Overall, those are all of my thoughts on the Pixi brand, all of the different products that I tried. If you like this video, please be sure to like it up. Please be sure to thumbs it up. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have an absolutely awesome day. Bye!